Welcome to the High Rankings podcast, brought to you by Dispensary-Growth, the preeminent SEO agency only working with premium cannabis dispensaries. In our episodes, we bring you the most up-to-date strategies and tools for your dispensary's SEO game plan so that you can reach the top of the search engine rankings and capitalize on your growing organic traffic to increase your sales. A light-hearted mix of our daily lives and SEO knowledge will leave you laughing and informed so that you keep coming back for the next episode. Hello, welcome back to another episode of High Rankings podcast. We today are on episode 93, closing in on that 100th episode.
Boo!
We are going to hit that 100th episode. Let me look at my calendar to make sure I'm accurate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right before 420. Well, not right before 420, but before 420. It would have been cool if we could have timed it to hit 420, but
Yeah, that'd have been pretty cool.
that's not going to happen. Yeah, so episode 93, I think we're in season 3. I can't remember now. Anyway, what's new with you?
Gearing up for the Super Bowl. You know, I care so much that I had to double check who's actually playing.
We just talked about this in the last episode, though, didn't we?
Maybe?
Just remember how I said,
KC and...
Remember how I said, like, I kind of was sort of rooting for Buffalo because I wanted DeMar Hamlin to get a Super Bowl ring?
Yeah, I haven't really been paying attention. I just care about the food. So we're going over to a friend's house. Girlfriend is making wings. She makes banging wings. Nice and crispy. She went to Costco yesterday to pick up like a tray of wings, and she said she got like the second to last one. And then they had like a giant bin of wings, and they're basically all gone.
I mean, 'tis the season, right, for chicken wings.
Yeah, she picked up 90 of them, a tray of 90, and they were almost all gone. So, yeah, gearing up for that.
Not to be personal, but are you a drumstick or a flats kind of guy?
Drumstick.
All right.
Yeah. Right. Do you eat wings? I can't see you. You're too high. Of course you don't. I don't even know why I'm asking.
Boneless.
It's not even
honestly, I will tell you this. On the very rare occasion that I do or have eaten chicken wings, I would always go for a flat and I would get it extra crispy. The problem is I don't like skin and bones. It's just not my jam. If I was to eat a chicken wing, it would be a flat, super crispy.
I do like the crispy. At the old job that we both had, but we're in different states, there is a Denver bar, which is really close. It's pretty well known in the Denver area. They had really good wings, very good wings. We'd always order extra crispy drums, and they were banging. They were very good.
I'm not a huge Buffalo Wild Wings fan. I think their food is subpar at best, but they have this dry rub. It's a salt and vinegar dry rub. So I could get flats super crispy with this dry rub on it, and this dry rub is insane. It's so good. But then I discovered you could put it on boneless ones. So.
Okay, I've never had it. So we were talking about doing buffalo and then Korean sticky and maybe something else. But I mean, I don't really care just because I'm going to smash wings like all day. So I'm looking forward to that. Got out on the ice with my old hockey group this past weekend. Sorry, Mom, sorry, Dad. I got fucking smoked. I got absolutely blasted.
Well, you're an old man now, so that's to be expected, you know?
Yeah, getting back on the ice. That was my, I think, 4th time back. Luckily, there was no ex-pros there because they would have just had a field day. Yeah, so for context, I play goalie. I play in very private skate. It's very like invite only. You had to have played somewhere growing up, not be a shitbag, be able to handle stuff on the ice. It's a very exclusive group. I've been playing in there for about 10 years. And Sunday morning was my first time back I hadn't seen a couple of the guys in the locker room like, dude, I haven't seen you in like 2.5 years since I tore my shoulder, really. First thing they asked me is, do you still have your Bitcoins? And then they asked me, okay, like, what the hell happened? Like, we heard about the crash, but like what exactly happened?
The bike crash?
Yeah. When I
okay. Yeah.
So that's why I've been out. So good to see the guys. And that group plays, there's about 100 guys on an email list, and they play every Sunday morning, Tuesday afternoon, and Friday afternoon. And Sunday morning is, quote, the slowest skate. So I made sure to hit that skate first. And yeah, I got pumped, still got pumped, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun being on the ice. And I mean, they all knew, like, dude, like, third or fourth time back on the ice in a while. So,
is your friend still there? What's his name? Oh, maybe he didn't. Maybe he wasn't in the skate. Bob. Bob.
Oh, that's a Tuesday. I skated that. Yeah, Bob, the guy that hit me in the face in warm-ups, that fucking donkey. Bob means well. He's just kind of a dummy.
Oh, Bob.
Yeah, poor Bob.
I
Yeah,
just
Bob.
every time I think of Bob, I just feel so bad for him because you took out your shitty mood on Bob.
Bob got got.
Well, I gotta tell backstory of this. So me and Charlie have known each other a very long time, and we don't fight. We just don't. But there was one day, I don't know. I think we were both just in shit moods, and I think we had disagreed on something, and I don't think we got in a fight per se, but we were just both very, very, very pissed off with each other.
Very irritated.
And we ended the workday kind of pissed off with each other. I mean, it was all fine and sorted out and everything's fine. But it was the one occasion that I can think of in 11, 12 years, however long it's been, that like we had any type of real animosity. So anyway, it must have been a Tuesday because, no, it was a Tuesday. So we end our work day. We're very annoyed with each other. And Charlie goes off to a skate. And poor Bob. I don't know how Bob was still standing at the end of that skate because all of Charlie's pissed off. Something else had happened that day as well, though, for you or to you or something. Because I remember there was like 3 things that had happened, and Bob was like the last of it on the day. And I feel so bad for Bob. So now every time you skate, because you really like, yeah, poor Bob.
So what happened, for context, I do the skate. We're out on the ice. And again, I play goalie. And this is like a pretty advanced group, guys that played pro, college, like competitive high school, and are still active and, played major juniors somewhere, had pro contracts, whatever. Out on the ice. And this guy, he means well. He just does dumb shit on the ice. Like, for example, if the puck, it's like an unwritten rule. If you're trying to score on a team and the puck is near the blue line, like it's called, like, if the puck is at the point, that D-man has the puck and he's trying to score and you shoot from the point, you usually want to keep it low so you don't hit anybody in front of the net.
Yeah.
Right. So you're not firing 90-mile-an-hour pucks at guys' ribs or teeth or anything like that. Like, we all have to go to work in the morning. Well, Bob shoots high from the point because Bob's kind of a knucklehead. So anyway, I've chirped him many times about that. So this particular night, yeah, I'm so irritated about something. I don't know. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but we get on the ice. There's only like 3 guys on the ice. I'm in the net. It's literally like the very first like puck I'm seeing that night. There's nobody else. Like, there's only one net pegged into the ice at this point. The other net isn't even in the crease. That's how early this is in the skate. Bob decides to stand pretty close and wind up, which is another like unwritten rule that you don't do. Like, you don't just wind up from the fucking slot or like the face-off dot. He completely winds up, and I'm thinking the moment his backswing, the moment he starts his backswing for his slap shot, I'm thinking, if he hits me in the head, I'm gonna fucking rock this guy. And sure enough, he hit me in the fucking face with a puck. With a full-on slap shot, he hit me in the fucking face. And I was still on my feet. I didn't like how goalies will go on the butterfly, like on their knees, like to block the low shots. I was still on which means he fired the puck like 6.5 feet in the air, like over the net. Completely missed the net by 5. I'm trying to do the math. I'm not sure I can't remember how tall the crossbar is. Anyway, it was well over the net. I was still on my feet and he hit me in the fucking face, and the wires just crossed. And he skates over and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And he was like so sorry that he did it. He skates over to try and he's like, "Oh my God." And I fucking hit him. It's just like, it just happened. And to the other 2 guys that were standing there, it happened like so fast. Like, what the hell just happened? Like, the goalie just punched Bob. Like, what the fuck just happened? So for the rest of the skate, Bob, I don't even think he went near the net.
Oh, but I remember he came and talked to you in the locker room.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was like, "Hey, sorry." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, just don't do that again. I get it. It was an accident. Just don't fucking do that again." And Bob's like, "Yeah, sorry, man. That one got away. Yeah, don't do it again." Anyways, yeah, that was a whole tangent. What we were just talking about, the poor Bob. Oh, hockey. No, okay, so that was a Tuesday night group. I did play with that skate on Tuesday. I did much better. Bob actually sat next to me in the locker room. He's like, "Where you been, man?" I was like, "Dude, I just had this bad injury," and we talked for a while. It's nothing bad. All the guys in the skate still give Bob shit about that because
Oh, because didn't he hit somebody else like the week after or something?
yeah, he hit another.
Didn't he? Like this is what I remember, yeah.
He hit my buddy James, the other goalie, in the face one time, and James like like you just do not do that, like especially in competitive hockey because you guys are on the same team. Like
Yeah.
you don't hit your fucking goalie in the face. Like that's so. Anyway, that's how you can really tell if somebody's played competitive hockey is if they if they can warm up a goalie properly. So
Poor
anyway,
Bob. Got the
poor
wrath.
Bob.
I
Since
mean, you would have like been annoyed anyway, but the fact that you were already annoyed.
I was already pretty irritated, and then him fucking doming me in warm up. Oh
Oh,
my
poor.
gosh, I was so pissed. I was so pissed. I was seeing red for a second, and it like I remember when I hit him, his helmet 'cause he wears like a full cage. His helmet like moved on his face, so like where his ear should be, like his ear guard, like moved over to like where his nose is because it like it moved his fucking helmet on his face.
Oh, poor Bob.
I was so pissed off. So anyway, he hits my buddy like a couple months later. Same exact thing. He just fucking winds up and hits him in the face. My buddy like skates away from the net, like, dude, what the fuck? And Bob comes over and goes, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry.
Didn't he say something like he had a new hockey stick or something?
He's used that excuse before, and so he hit my buddy James, and James is like, dude, what the fuck, man? And Bob's like, yeah, sorry, dude. And then he goes, by the way, you're a lot nicer than Carlos. And James said he just busts out laughing.
Oh my god.
Anyways, yeah, so Bob was there. All that to say, yeah, that little butthole is still there. But no, it's all, I mean, that happens. It's just part of being a goalie. You have bad hips and you get hit in the face with pucks. If it's during the play, like whatever, I don't care. I got hit in the face on Sunday during the play, and I was like, and the guy was like, oh shit, sorry. Like he hit me pretty hard. He's like, oh, sorry, dude, sorry. I was like, yeah, dude, like no problem. And then he came up to me after the skate, like we're getting off the ice, and he's like, yeah, sorry, man, that got away. I was like, dude, don't even worry about it. It's like that. It's just that's hockey. And I said, just don't do it in warm ups. And he kind of laughed, and he's like, no, dude, I know. Yeah, so that was a different guy, and he hit me in the face on Sunday. But anyways, it's good to be on the ice. I'm still a little sore. Abductors are very sore, but it's good to be on the ice again. It's good. It's good to be out like in the locker room, with the guys and having beers and all that. So yeah, that is my Sunday. What has been new in your life, Caspod?
So I finally finished my birthday celebrations at the weekend. I had dinner with some friends, and that was the end of that. So that's over. I've been walking a couple miles every morning. I have a lake that's like in downtown of where I live, and I normally do like the school run, and then I'll go and walk the lake. Depending on how much time I have, I'll walk, 2, 3, 4 miles. Depends on the time I have. And I won't be able to do it for much longer because, life is going to get unbearably hot here at some point.
Ugh. Yeah, it is very relaxing. It is.
I put my headphones in and I listen to an audiobook, and yeah. So I think it's nice just to like get outside. I think that walking outside is easier on my back than a treadmill. And I also think that I hate, like, I can never get the speed exactly where I want it on a treadmill. Whereas when I'm walking outside, I can slow down or speed up if I want to. So that's nice. Although my bitch about that is I always see the same people every morning, and that's fine. It's kind of nice to see familiar faces. But there's this one group of like older people, and there's like 4 or 5, depending on the day, 6 of them, and they all walk these tiny little yap yap dogs. And there's like an actual pavement sidewalk that you walk on around the lake, and they just fucking congregate. They walk so slowly, and they all walk together, and they all block the fucking pavement. Like you don't have any awareness of like
that would irritate me. Not quite like Bob, but yes, that would absolutely irritate. I know what you're saying. That would drive me.
Then I was like, because I was walking like clockwise around the lake, so I kept coming up behind them and walking into them that way. So then I was like, well, maybe if I go anti-clockwise and they see me coming, they'll get out of the way, right? No, they fucking don't. It's just annoying. It's like, I think there's one thing, like we all know I don't like people, but the thing that irritates me about people more than anything is just their lack of like give a shit about anybody else, you know? Like,
So like if you're walking towards each other and you're on the like pavement, like paved area, and there's a bunch of dogs, like a bunch of little
there's maybe 3 or 4 dogs and like 4, 5 or 6 elderly people. It's just like an absolute lack of spatial awareness and like,
yeah.
don't be selfish. You know, there's a group of you. You're ambling along like a sloth in fucking molasses in Alaska in December, right? You couldn't be going any slower. All you need to do is 2 of you need to edge slightly to one direction to allow me to just pass you. It's like, I just don't understand it. It just baffles me. It just absolutely baffles me. But anyway, so we've been doing that. And I've kind of partly been doing it, obviously, so I can get out and smell some fresh air, but also just testing how my back is reacting to that. And at first it was not good, but it's better now. I'm just working through that before I go and like hit the gym and start doing some weights and stuff in the gym, because it's going to get like unbearably hot here. And even at like 9 a.m., I won't be able to walk the lane, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I can, but it's just being miserable. It's the same with like walking the dogs. Like when walk the dogs in the morning or at nighttime. Right now, it's fine. It doesn't really matter what time we go, but it's going to get to a point where it's going to have to be when the sun's gone down, and the walk will have to be half as long, because Dog, my Frenchie, is not built for heat and long walks. So like in what I did last year in the summer was I took her out multiple times a day, but for short walks, you know, just to get her to get the exercise she needs, but do it in like short bursts. So that, what else? I just literally this morning got some bookshelves delivered from IKEA because my books are becoming a storage problem in my house. So I'll guess I'll be putting those together at the weekend. And I actually have an empty house on Saturday because my husband and kid are going to a concert. So hoping that I can get the bookshelves put up and assembled, and then while they're out, I can start rearranging everything. It's the plan.
Where's the concert?
It's in Tampa. It's literally, this venue it's called the Orpheum, and I think my living room is bigger. And I'm not kidding. It is tiny.
What's the band? Like a death metal band?
No, there's like 4 or 5 bands all playing. They're not very big bands. There's one band called The Browning that my husband has been a fan of, I think, almost as long as I've known him. So that's for sure one reason why he's going. And then our kid, when she was younger, she was I remember the first concert she ever went to, I took her to, was Ed Sheeran. And she was kind of into all of the usual things you would think of. And now she's gotten older. She and he have very similar taste in music, which does not align with mine whatsoever. So they go off and do their thing. And yeah, so there's this concert on Saturday night. So I don't know. I don't know. I'll probably just stay home and have some like time to do these bookshelves, maybe. I don't know, because then Super Bowl doesn't start till like 6:30 my time on Sunday, so I have like all day Sunday too. But now you've got me wanting wings, and I don't
I can't wait for that wing.
I don't eat a lot of fried food at all, and also I don't really eat wings. But now, like, knowing that it is, I mean, that's what Super Bowl's about, right? Beer and wings
And pizza.
Oh, and pizza. See, my husband makes really good pizza.
Pizza is life.
Yeah, we have like a pizza oven, and he makes really good pizza. So,
do you have an uni?
I don't know what brand he has. I bought it for him a couple years ago. I don't know. I know that he can put either wood chips or propane to it, and he always only ever uses wood chips.
Yeah, one of my girlfriend's friends has one, and one of my buddies has one too. And yeah, the pizza that you can make, it's fucking unbelievable. The quality of pizza that you can get, as long as you have good dough. If you have good dough, you can make very, very good pizza.
His chief complaint is that it takes longer to heat it to get it to the temperature it needs to be than it does to make the pizza.
Yeah, it takes like a minute to make the pizza.
Yeah.
Like,
so yeah, most of the time he will make his own dough, but I did just have to go out and get a new dough hook because ours was not good. So he ended up buying, I think Walmart does what they call pizza buddies, which is like literally just pizza dough, and you can buy them in like, it's like a small bag and it just has pizza dough in it. And that dough is really good, but it ended up making like 8 like personal sized pizzas. So he dropped off like 3 pizzas to the neighbors. Nice. I don't think he even asked them if they wanted any. He's just like, here, I just made pizza. Like, take this pizza.
Yeah.
So Yeah, he also makes good pizza dough. I'm like a very much of a purist. I like just crush up like crushed tomatoes and then mozzarella cheese and some basil, and I like solid because
Yeah.
it's just so good and so
Neapolitan? Yeah. I like that or just some pepperoni on it. Yeah.
yeah. They tiny pepperoni things, the small one.
Yeah. Like the little cups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. My girlfriend makes very good pizza dough as well. Yeah, it's so good. You can literally taste the difference.
100%,
Like,
like without a doubt. And it's funny because even when you go to like your favorite pizza joint, like it's really good food, don't get me wrong, but the difference, even the difference in like that plus a homemade pizza is
you
because
can,
it's not all the same shit in it.
yeah,
Literally, it's just flour and water and cheese and tomatoes.
yeah,
Like, you know.
100%.
So now I'm gonna have to get on him about making me some wings. Does she fry her wings, like deep fry them?
She air fry.
Oh,
Air
okay.
fryer. Yeah,
Yeah, I much
they
air
are
fry.
banging. They're so good. Very crispy. Yeah, she was asking, was texting me earlier on like what kind of, do you want buffalo? Do you want like what kind of dry rub?
All of them.
Yeah, I was like, just, yeah. I just said yes.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yes to everything. Yes, 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 yes.
Well, I'm gonna have to get with him now because no, I want wings. He's on the boat currently though, so he's not gonna be paying me any attention.
I wouldn't.
I know. Anyway, moving on. One last thing. We'll have to come back to this next week, but go ahead and tell me who you think's gonna win the Super Bowl.
Oh, Chiefs, of course.
Okay. You think they're on for a three-peat?
Yeah, yeah. Like no question. I think so.
Why are you so sure?
I mean, I don't really know anything about football, but I do know that Mahomes is really freaking good. That dude gets dialed in. Like, you know how guys just win? Like Tom Brady just wins.
Tom Brady never did a three-peat.
You're right. Guys just know how to win. I think Mahomes is like that. I think he will.
I'm not saying he won't. I'm not necessarily disagreeing. I'm just curious as to what your reasoning was.
I think he'll just be dialed in. I mean, he's guys like that, like this big of a game and like this moment in his career, like they just perform. I think he'll do it.
Do you think if the Chiefs do get their three-peat, do you think that Kelsey will retire?
Yes. Do you think?
No.
No. I think he will.
I don't know because he's not mentioned it before.
I was just going to ask you, is that the rumor? Is that kind of the
No. Because obviously, like his brother is older than him, and his brother, like, it took him a hot minute to retire. So that's why I was like, But I think both of them have set themselves up for great careers, like after their playing days. Obviously, look at them; they have probably one of the most popular podcasts in the country. Jason has his nighttime show that he does now, plus all of the commercials that they have. And Jason also does commentary. So I think they both kind of set themselves up for a great career after playing. But I don't think that fills the void of playing. And I know it took Jason a long time to get to the point where he was going to retire. And I just don't know if Travis wants to go out in a blaze of glory with the three-peat. What is he, 35, 36 now? So I don't know. I just was curious. I don't know. I'd like to see a three-peat for sure. I think it would be amazing if it can be done. And then obviously there's the Taylor thing, but I don't know how much of his relationship would really affect his career because they've been together all this time while she was on a world tour and he was winning Super Bowls and they made it work. So I don't know that necessarily would really impact that. But yeah, if I had to put money on somebody winning, I guess I would put money on the Chiefs. But again, I'm not like a football pundit. I really don't watch a lot of football. I'm definitely more of an F1 person. So I don't know.
I think just Patrick Mahomes is like his craft. Like he's just so good. And I've seen some videos on YouTube of the refs favoring him and favoring the Chiefs allegedly. Like who knows? I think
say that about every successful team. Every successful team.
Yeah, I think it's good for the game. I think they'll do it. So yes, I think they will three-peat.
Well, all right. I guess we'll come back and revisit this next week when the game's over. Okay, so moving on to the real reason that we're here, episode 93 of the podcast. And today we talk a lot about blogs. But today we're going to talk about like content strategies for your blogs and what is going to work in 2025. Obviously, blogs is a major part of your SEO strategy. It should be. So we're going to talk about what we think are effective strategies for content, what kind of content, is going to resonate with your customers, how you can drive traffic to your blogs that you're writing, and then how do you get the people who are reading your blogs to become loyal customers that keep coming back.
Mhm.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we get into actually the content of it, though, one of the most major parts that we always talk about is technical SEO and how do you set up your blogs, your URLs for your blogs from a technical standpoint so that you get it right from the get-go. I'm going to hand this over to you because you're better explaining technical stuff than I am, but it does fall into how we always talk about making sure that your URLs are solid and like the filing cabinet analogy that we use.
So regarding the filing cabinet example that we use, think of the filing cabinet as your domain, www.dispensary.com, and the drawer in the filing cabinet is the blog silo, and then the file inside of that drawer is the blog post. The proper structure hierarchy is www.dispensary.com /blog/indica versus sativa.
Got you.
That's how it should be. Now, the way to set it up is, let's say that you're using blog posts. This example is using blog posts, but it's in your permalinks under settings. So in the back end, you go to your WordPress backend, go under settings, and from settings, click on permalinks. And then you're going to have to change it to custom structure at the bottom, that radio button. And you're going to have to, in the open field, put /blog/postname/. And then make sure that post name is that button on the bottom, the tag, make sure that post name is checked. This will all make sense when you actually go to that setting in WordPress.
What if you don't set it up right?
If you do not set it up right, that's your question. If you don't set it up right, you're going to have very flat website architecture, which is not good for SEO. So for example, it's going to be dispensary.com/indica versus sativa. And then your next blog is dispensary.com/how to roll a blunt. And then your next blog post is indica versus sativa / how to get the smell of weed out of your car, for example. And what that does is it creates a very flat website structure. And the issue is with that is it's not sectioned off properly. So when Google scrapes it, okay, yeah, there's some content in there, but really when you go into the back end of your analytics, you can't do a content drill down. So you can't see in the blog section of my website which blogs are performing great, which blogs are performing poorly, so you can't optimize them.
Right. And also, like, there's a reason for silos being able to like interlink with each other with on-page linking.
Yeah, that too. There's a whole slew of reasons of why you should do it.
Yeah.
Which far outweigh why you should not do it. Like we see websites all the time. We see other agencies do that. It's just a lazy way of doing it.
Yeah, we see it and we go, ooh.
Yeah, like you can tell, it's very basic. It's a pain in the ass to retroactively fix it because you have to 301 all the blog posts. You have to redirect them. But set it up properly from the start, you'll be good.
All right. So that's like making the very first thing you need to do is make sure that you are going to set up your URLs correctly, starting with your first blog. And if you already have blogs and you haven't done it correctly, then obviously follow those steps in order to get it set up properly before you continue in the same vein. So,
Correct.
Okay. So obviously the whole point of SEO is, optimizing everything in order for your blogs and your website to show up higher rankings. So what exactly, in terms of the blogs themselves, what exactly are going to be the benefits of creating them for SEO? For example, we just talked about one of the reasons of making sure that your URLs are correct is so that you are creating that silo and therefore you're able to use on-page linking to link within all of these pages. And we know from on-page and off-page linking, your favorite thing you like to say, rising tide lifts all boats. We know from having done that many times that by using on-page and off-page linking, we are able to increase the rankings on SERP. So like what else, I guess, like from a layman's terms, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't mean that like flippantly, like, but like, what is the point? What are blogs going to do in terms of SEO?
So it's a great way to post content. So the more content, generally speaking, the more content, the more keywords on your website, the more traffic you're going to get, the more traffic you're going to get. The end result is getting more revenue because you're at the top of search, you're outranking your competitors, you're at the top of the map pad, the top 3, or actually now it's 2 spots in maps. It builds the credibility of your dispensary site, and it's a great way to boost from an SEO perspective. It's a great way to boost the domain authority in your website. As you said, rising tide lifts all boats. All these keywords about different topics like strains, products, concentrate, pre-rolls, brands, all of that. I mean, they should be segmented. Brands shouldn't be in your blog or that, but it is a great way to pump the keywords into your domain and build that authority in search engines.
But when you say pump the keywords, you mean strategically. We're not saying like just
create like not spray and pray. Like, you should have a certain content calendar and strategy to use. Once that's taken care of, the pain in the ass is setting it up and then setting up like your blog template. Your blog template should be H1, your main keyword in there. It should be in the URL, your main keyword. It should be in the title tag. It should be in the title description, meta description, pardon me. And then subsequent H2s with other keywords in your keyword inventory in those H2s. And then it should be relevant, valued content, not just like a bunch of AI shit on a screen.
Right, because I think the actual content of your content, if that makes sense, the content of your content, what you're actually talking about, the knowledge that you're writing about and the knowledge that you show your readers and your customers that you have through your blogs, that's what gets you your authority. You're building your authority, your website authority. And obviously that will get you engagement and that will get you loyalty. But Google needs to know that you know what you're talking about and that your blogs are relevant and that they contain, because blogs are informational and they need to show that you are knowledgeable in what you're talking about. You're not just creating blogs to spew keywords on a page. So if I Google, what's the difference between indica and sativa? And your blog comes up, then that blog page that I Googled and Google has given me back needs to show nothing but informational content about indica and sativa. And that will help you build up that authority because Google now knows, these guys know what they're talking about. We've scraped their website for however many pages and the informational stuff is informative and relevant and useful.
Right. Yeah, being the authoritative voice in your city, your community is the end goal. And blogs, as far as online, like website, web real estate, building out your blog is a great way of doing that.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so obviously so we talk about building domain authority, right? So the higher your domain authority, the easier it is going to be for you to rank keywords. But outside of that, you're also building. Not only are you showing Google that you're a trusted resource, but you're also showing your customers and your website readers that you're also trusted because they know, I recognize that dispensary name because I read one of their blogs on something and it gave me all of the information I need. So it's not only with Google, but also your customers too.
Yeah, exactly. First thing first is your customers and then, then Google. Yeah.
Yes. And then obviously because now your website's full of useful information, relevant information, you've got no more than 3 clicks for your customers to buy a product. You have your products clearly available and visible for your customers to read. All of these things will help you retain your customers' loyalty because, again, it comes back to the fact that they trust you. They trust the information that you're giving them. Your website's easy to navigate. They've purchased from you before. Maybe you have a loyalty program. So it's every one of these things is a brick to that foundation of getting a customer and then retaining a customer and that customer being loyal to you.
Exactly. Yep.
So what kind of content are we going to suggest that our listeners put on their blogs?
Well, what you can do is you can look at your top competitors. You can go into their blog, assuming that it's set up properly. you could look at their content, see what they're doing, and then you can plug their domain into SEMrush, and you can,
Mhm.
there's always a 80-20 rule. There's always a small handful of blog posts that are really driving a domain. So you can optimize your own content for what's working. And then maybe it's some strains, maybe it's a rec topic. Let's just say a strain like wedding cake strain. Those
Yeah.
generally get like high volume. Come up with your own content, put it on your blog, make sure that it's structurally sound, and then come up with a cadence of like, once, twice, ideally every day, but once, twice a week. Get that content, make sure it's value, it's of value. It's not, again, a bunch of crap on a screen. Make sure it's up there, make sure it's page linked and everything like that. And then those strains are a good way of doing that, generally speaking.
Okay.
There's a lot of topics to go over. You can go over like
Yeah.
regulations, you can go over, of course, like state laws, and then those should be their own content silo. House under the state, like let's just say Colorado, like that case would be www.dispensary.com/Colorado dispensaries / like Colorado laws, for example. So that's its own silo. So blogs typically a little more broad in scope and content, but cannabis strains, and I wouldn't put brands under a blog, but cannabis strains are a good place to start.
We have talked about this in a previous episode about doing a content calendar for all of your content, but obviously for blogs. We talked about doing a content calendar where you map out your content. And also one thing that is is important when it comes to your blogs is the cadence, how often you put a blog up. What you don't want to do is put 4 up today and then forget about it for 6 weeks and then post another 3 and then, like you need to have a pretty steady cadence, twice a week, once a week, every 3 days, however you want to do it. You need to maintain that. But if we had a brand new client and that brand new client had nothing, and so we were starting out and we were doing blogs and we were creating a content calendar for them, where would you start? Like, what would be like your, I guess, priority blogs that you would want to put up for this customer?
Part of our onboarding process is asking them what's important to them. Are we talking just blogs?
Just blogs, yeah.
I guess because the episode is about blogs. Okay,
Yeah.
so outside of the city content, if we're going just blogs, we always ask the client, like, what's important to you? Do you have anything specific coming up? Any big announcements? Most likely would be a product. That way we can link it to the menu, hoping that they don't have one of those shit iframes. And it would most likely be a product, but it really depends. That's kind of like saying, like, I know exactly what you're asking. And, we always relate it like, hey, like, I want to lose weight. What's the first thing I should do? Well, it depends. What's your body fat percentage? Like, what's your diet? Like, how are you sleeping? What kind of exercise are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. We'd have to ask first, usually a product or a strain would be the first. But again, we'd have to talk to retail.
See, that's not where I thought you were going to go.
Where do you think I was going to go?
I thought you were going to go with blogs that we know have performed very well and that we know is a topic that is searched often. For example, indica.
Oh yeah, indica versus sativa. Yeah, like informational.
What is a blunt? I think is another one.
How to roll. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I thought you were going to go. Actually,
those are good. Like depending on the state that retailer is located, but it really is best to ask the retailer first. But yeah, that you're probably right. Actually, going in more in that direction.
Yeah. Okay. So, and again, we've talked about creating a content calendar. Is there anything that you think doesn't necessarily belong in a blog, or where you've seen people create something as a blog and you're like, no, that's not really where it belongs?
Brands. We've seen some brands. We get it for a blog, but some of them can fit, but we've seen some that just don't work at all. Just maybe it's the way the content is written, but just didn't work. Blogs are really like open mic for the dispensary. They're
Really? Yeah.
Things that didn't work. Let's see. That's a good question.
Like, for example, I'm thinking off the top of my head now. I wouldn't create a blog necessarily if I had a loyalty program or I was starting a loyalty program. A CTA for people to join I wouldn't put that in a blog. Like, I wouldn't, like, I might write about loyalty programs, but if I'm just starting a loyalty program where my customers get points, I wouldn't put that in a blog. I would put that like front page news, like
Yeah. I put that on the homepage and then on the city page because that's going to be the gateway into the website.
yeah. So that's why I'm like, those, to me, those kind of things don't fit into a blog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you know if your blog's doing well?
Well, if it's set up properly, you can go into your blog arm of your website, the analytics in Google Analytics. You can go into the arm of the blog performance. You can track exactly how its individual blogs are performing.
Mm-hmm.
So go into Google Analytics, go into content drill down, and then go into that arm. And if your blog post on indica versus sativa isn't performing, you can look at the data right there. And then also you can look at the individual URL in Search Console. Two native tools, Google Analytics and Google Search Console.
Okay, so what if I wanted to steal somebody else's blogs?
I think you and I both prefer SEMrush. You can look at competitor's domain, go into SEMrush, pull up your competitor, go into your domain overview, plug it in, scroll down and look at key topics. And it'll scrape the domain. It'll tell you best performing topics, the keyword, the intent, traffic volume, the keyword difficulty, URL. All that technical stuff is done for you. So this is a really cool tool. This came out recently. And you can see which topics are working for your competitors, which topics are not working, so you know where to start first.
Okay, right. Because I mean, I think like, you know, reverse engineering what somebody's already done successfully is easy. It not only is easy, but it's efficient.
Yeah, and you know, like, you know, what's working and you know where the holes are, so yours can be better.
Yeah, that's true. Would you ever put videos in blogs?
Yeah, I would embed YouTube videos. Yeah, for sure. It's the second
You
largest
would.
search engine in the world. Yeah, absolutely. I would.
I will say I don't really understand how if you put a video in a blog, right? I understand like Google like trolls your page and scrapes it and finds keywords and meta tags and all that. But I don't know how does a video fit into that in terms of SEO and Google? Like how does that?
It's just more useful content. So, like, if you have a blog post about how to roll a blunt, that dispensary can also have a video titled "How to Roll a Blunt." Google owns YouTube, of course, and then you just embed that on the page, and it's more valuable content to the user. So, therefore, Google will probably favor it.
And I'm assuming it's your own video that you're putting in your blog.
Right.
You're not going to put somebody
Right.
else's video in your blog.
Yeah. You wouldn't put your competitor's video in your blog. Exactly.
Well, maybe not a competitor, but yeah.
Or like a brand or something like that.
So, okay, and that was a slight detour because sometimes I learn more than I know about a topic when we do these podcasts. So I'm like, oh, how does that work? What do you do if you've spent this time, you've created a blog, you've uploaded it, it looks great, you've done all your on page and off page tagging and everything, and then you go to your metrics and your data and it's not performing? What do you do then?
It's not performing after a certain, I'd say 30, 60 days. If it's not performing, yeah, look at your Search Console. Whatever not performing means is not getting impressions, is the click-through rate not very good. However you determine those KPIs, if it's not performing, the quickest way to get it to perform is internal linking. If it's let's say it's a domain and your top performing page is indica versus sativa, and you just posted something about how to clean your pipe. If how to clean your pipe is not performing after 30, 60 days, you can internally link it to your highest performing page and kind of piggyback it.
Only if it makes sense, though. Let's clarify.
Yeah, contextually, it has to that anchor text has to make sense.
Yeah, it has to make sense. Otherwise, what are you doing? Yeah,
exactly. And that's why a content calendar is so important and a certain schedule for cadence.
And also that's why we make sure that you keep a record of the fact that you've done your internal linking and where you've linked it to. And also, I also would say run an audit, or as part of your regular audit runs that you do, cast your eye over that audit and make sure that page, there's nothing wrong with that particular page. Because there may be something that you haven't realized on that particular page, you know. So when you're checking your audit, make sure that that's not an issue.
Yeah, checking data is extremely important. So having your website properly set up with the proper structure, URL structure with /blog/blog post, you can easily do that.
Yeah. And so just real quick to give our listeners a rundown of how we create our blog posts. We will get with a client and we will identify keywords that they, would like to rank for. And also we check what their competitors are doing and what they're ranking for. If we want to go after those, we identify any gaps that we can go after. So there's a few ways that we come up with what blogs we're going to do initially. And then we will hand that over to our research team and they will research the keywords. And once we've agreed on the keywords for that specific term that we're doing with the client, we then will us, but mostly our research team will create the content outlines. So those will include all of the relevant keywords. And then we like to look at keyword difficulty and
KD volume.
Thank you, volume. And then, so we like to just look at that to make sure that it fits within the domain authority. So for example, if you have a client that does not have good domain authority, they're not going to be getting the more difficult keywords. So we kind of have to strategically look at where they sit and the difficulty of the keywords and whether they're long tail or short tail keywords. So we kind of have to dig into that a bit. And then also we create our H1, H2s, and H3s. And then one of us will cast our eye over it just to go through it, just to make sure that there's not a glaring issue there, or there's something that we don't want to see, or maybe we've done it before, or there's an alternative way of approaching it, something like that. And then that gets approved. And then once that's approved, it heads over to our writing team. And then our writing team will take all of the keywords and the content outline that we've approved, and they will write their piece. And then once that's been approved, it then goes and our team will put it up as a draft, and they will add images and meta tags and schema and that kind of thing. Typically, our images will come from our clients. So they'll do that. And then according to the cadence of that client and where we are and how often we put the blogs up, then we'll make the blog post go live. And we track all of this with our spreadsheet. So everybody who's involved in that whole, from the very beginning to the very end, and the very end for us is updating the sitemap. So it's not, You can't just do it live. The very end for us is updating the sitemap. So from the very beginning to the very end, it's on a spreadsheet. Everybody knows what stage we're at with that particular blog and who's working on what. And so basically that's how we work our blogs. Now, how you do your blogs is completely up to you, but we also keep a track of the blogs, not only in the spreadsheet, but we also have we use Lucidchart so we can see what's connected to who, when, and where. So you have to figure out what works best for you. And I will tell you that even our spreadsheet has been a case of trial and error over the years that we've worked together. And it's been refined, and it will probably continue to be refined, because I don't ever think that, oh, we're good now. Like, you can never sit still. You always want to see if you can do it more effectively or efficiently. Just to give our listeners an idea of how we work our blogs. That's exactly how we work our blogs. And then we rinse and repeat. We do the same thing for the next term and the same thing for the next term, all while keeping an eye on the blogs that we have already posted to make sure that they're performing in a way that we think is, good enough for what our clients' needs are.
That's it. Constantly refine, iterate, just making it clean and effective as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's how we do that. So I think that's about it for this. I was going to say this blog. This is not a blog. This is a podcast episode. I think that's about it for this week. I hope whoever you're rooting for in the Super Bowl comes out on top. And if not, just enjoy your wings and your beer and your pizza and your chips and dip, because I feel like chips and dip is important.
Yep, that's it. It's carbs.
It really is. It's like, oh, now Christmas and New Year is over and I've eaten my weight in everything. Now I can get back onto my healthy and fitness routine. And then it's like, no, wait a minute. I'm going to throw in a Super Bowl there just so you can repeat your Christmas Trash Panda intake one more time.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait.
But anyway, I hope you all have a good Super Bowl weekend, and we'll be back with a whole new episode next week. And next week is Valentine's Day. Good Lord. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Apple Music and Spotify. And there you can like, comment, subscribe, share, give us a review, and ask us any questions that you might have about SEO for your dispensary. And then, we'll be back next week and see how we did with our prediction for the Super Bowl.
Peace.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the High Rankings podcast, brought to you by Dispensary-Growth, the preeminent SEO agency for dispensaries. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you found value in the insight and the tips we shared. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're feeling super generous, we would love it if you left us a review. If there's a specific topic you'd like us to cover in a future episode, or if you have any questions, you can go ahead and find us on LinkedIn or YouTube. We'll see you next time.